Welcome back, seekers of the strange, to Paranormal Nightshift, the place where the veil between the living and the unknown grows thinner with every story told. Here the shadows have a voice, and they speak through the experiences of those brave enough to listen and brave enough to share. I'm your host, Gideon, guiding you through the eerie, the unexplainable, and the utterly unforgettable. Each tale we tell is not folklore or fiction. It's real, submitted by people like you who've stared into the dark and had the dark stare back. Before we dim the lights and begin tonight's journey, I've got something special waiting for you. Head over to paranormalnightshift.com and grab your free copy of The Birth of Dimensional Desperado, the first ebook in our new time-twisting paranormal saga. Follow Buck Shadow Sheriff Freeman, a ghost-hardened time traveler confronting hauntings not just across space, but through history itself. If you love your horror with a side of supernatural grit and spectral showdowns, this one's for you. But now, let's return to the shadows. Tonight's tale comes from one of our listeners, Cass, and it's the kind of story that sticks with you. A haunting that begins with whispers and ends with a truck no one was driving. This is the kind of encounter that doesn't just test your courage, it tests your faith. Now, let's begin tonight's story. I've always believed some of us are born a little more tuned in. Even as a kid, I was sensitive to things I couldn't quite explain. A chill where there shouldn't be one, footsteps when no one was home, voices on the edge of sleep that didn't belong to anyone I knew. My mother had it too. She always said it ran in our blood. Some kind of spiritual sensitivity passed down, like eye color or a birthmark. She never made a big deal out of it, just said, "You'll know it when it shows up. Trust your gut." Back then, she worked night shifts to support us, a single mom holding it all together. So every morning, after a long night on her feet, she'd come home just in time to walk me and my brother to school. It wasn't a long walk. We lived in a small town, but there was one stretch that always made my skin crawl. An old, abandoned Alabama power building stood about 2 blocks from our place. It had been decommissioned before I was even born. Everyone said the town had built a new facility out past the railroad tracks, but for some reason they never tore the old one down. And it showed. Tall brick walls, windows boarded over, a gate rusted shut, chain-link fencing tangled in weeds. There was always something about that place, a heaviness. Every time we passed it on our way to school, I'd get this icy feeling in my gut, like something was watching us from inside. I'd feel it before I even saw the building. My shoulders would tighten, my neck would prickle, my feet would move faster on their own. I never told my mom at first. I figured maybe it was just me being dramatic. A spooky building and weird vibes. Maybe I watched too many scary cartoons, so I ignored it, kept my head down, and walked a little faster every time we passed it. A few years went by. It was summer and school was out. I was around 10 or 11 at the time. Back then, the rule in our neighborhood was simple. Be home by the time the streetlights come on. That was gospel. One evening I was out playing with some friends. The sun was dipping low, and the warm pink of twilight was starting to fade. I said my goodbyes and started the familiar walk home. And like always, my path took me past that place. The old power plant stood there, still and rotting in the dying light. I walked fast, head down, but then I heard it. Someone called my name. It was a man's voice, not my brother, not a neighbor, not my mother. I froze, looked around. The street was empty. No one on the sidewalk, no cars passing. A trick of the wind, maybe. I kept walking, slower now. Every hair on my body was standing up. Then it came again, louder, meaner. "Hey! I said come here now, damn it!" My stomach dropped. That voice was coming from the direction of the plant. I didn't wait. I ran. Straight up the hill to my house, legs burning, lungs tight. When I burst through the door, I was shaking. My mum and my brother looked up from the couch, startled. I told them what happened, about the voice, the yelling, the feeling. My mum's face changed. She didn't brush it off or tell me I imagined it. She just said, "All right, stay in tonight. I'll call it into the police. Could be someone messing around. Might be trying to lure kids out there." She tried to sound calm, but I saw it in her eyes. She believed me. A couple of days later, it was her day off. We were all at home, planning to eat pizza and watch movies. Just trying to have a normal, easy night. We just hit play on the VCR when I heard a low rumble. A vehicle. It was coming up the hill toward our house. I got up and peeked through the blinds. There, crawling slowly up the street like something out of a nightmare, was an old Alabama power truck. But there was no one driving it. I blinked and rubbed my eyes. Still no driver. "Mom," I called out, "you need to see this." She came to the window, looked out, and I saw the smile drop from her face. Her skin went pale. Right then, the truck door swung open, violently, and slammed shut again, like someone invisible had just stepped out. And then, footsteps. Heavy, angry, stomping up our front steps. Her eyes didn't leave the door. Then, calmly but firmly, she said, "Go, both of you. Laundry room, shut the door." We did exactly that. As soon as we were in there, the banging began. Bam, bam, bam. The front door flew open, and from the living room we heard it, that same voice. "Hey, damn it!" But this time my mother wasn't scared. She stood her ground. "You need to leave," she said. "Leave these kids alone." Then I heard her begin to pray, clear, powerful, unwavering. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." She recited the entire 23rd Psalm, like she was speaking directly to the thing in the room. I remember every word of it now, because I've never heard my mother sound so fearless. "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me." And just like that, silence. We heard the old truck crank up outside. It peeled off down the road, engine howling in protest. The next morning, the police found the truck, crashed into a tree just a few blocks away. No driver, no footprints, no sign anyone had ever been behind the wheel. After that night, it never came back. And a few months later, the town finally did what they should have done years ago. They tore the old power plant down. They built a library in its place. People say it's peaceful now, but there are still stories. Sometimes, when the librarians are shelving books late at night, they say they hear a man's voice echoing through the building, yelling orders, cursing, demanding someone's attention. I've never gone in, and I won't. Because I know what I felt outside that building. I know what followed me home, and I know that whatever it wasn't human anymore. Even now, whenever I feel something wrong in the air, when the room grows cold for no reason, when I feel something dark that doesn't belong, I start to pray. Psalm 23, word for word, because I watched it work. And I never want to see that truck again. And that wraps up tonight's thrilling journey into the unknown. Cass, Thank you for sharing your unforgettable story. The voice in the dark wasn't just a brush with the paranormal. It was a powerful reminder that sometimes the things we fear most don't just haunt places. They follow paths, people, and names they aren't ready to let go of. It's stories like yours that keep the spirit of this show alive. Stories that remind us that the past doesn't always stay buried, and some voices are too angry or too determined to fade quietly into the night. If you enjoyed tonight's episode and want to help keep the stories coming, consider joining us on Patreon. You'll get an ad-free listening experience, early access to upcoming episodes, and exclusive bonus content, including deeper dives into the dimensional Desperado universe. And yes, Patreon members always get the inside scoop on what's haunting our timeline next. Not ready to join the crew just yet? No worries, you can still support the show by subscribing on Spotify or YouTube, and while you're there, drop us a comment. Have you ever heard a voice that wasn't supposed to be there? Have you ever stood face to face with something no one else could see? Your stories and reactions fuel what we do, and we love hearing from you. And of course, before you head off into the night, don't forget to grab your free copy of The Birth of Dimensional Desperado over at paranormalnightshift.com. Follow Buck Shadow Sheriff Freeman as he steps into haunted timelines, confronts restless spirits, and tries to keep the past from bleeding too far into the now. Lastly, if you have a story of your own, a sighting, a sound, a moment you can't explain, don't keep it to yourself. Head over to paranormalnightshift.com and submit your experience. Who knows? Your voice might be the next one whispering through the static. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and remember, not every voice in the dark is just your imagination.